Hey everyone, Brian here, bringing you another edition of Guess Who Got Hacked and Breached this week. I've took a couple weeks off due to some of the things that were happening here in the United States around social unrest and everything. My goal is to update you every week with ransomware and breaches that happen in businesses big and small, to bring awareness to the threat that's out there, and then solutions that are available to companies to help them prevent and get through these things. However, I felt like the things that were going on around the United States, around social injustice, were a little bit more important than the information that I wanted to share with you. So I decided to hit the pause button for a couple weeks while those things settled out. As we get back to business here in the United States, both from COVID-19 and from the events we saw unfold in the last couple weeks, there have still been plenty of attacks out there. It hasn't stopped. These criminals, they don't care. The criminal side of the internet does not care what is going on in the rest of the world. They are opportunists. They use situations like these where people are under a lot of stress. They may not be thinking clearly, have other things on their mind. Hackers know this and they use that to their advantage. So this week we saw some pretty big ones, and I'm only going back 7 days here. I'm not going back 2 or 3 weeks since my last video. Yesterday, Honda announced that they had a major breach, major ransomware attack, which caused them to pause production and close offices following the ransomware attack. On Twitter, they threw up this message: at this time, Honda customer service and Honda Financial Services are experiencing technical difficulties and are unavailable. We are working to resolve the issue as quickly as possible, and we apologize for the inconvenience and thank you for your patience and understanding. Now, it's been reported that the ransomware used in this was the snake ransomware. The snake ransomware is typically used by organized criminals who demand millions of dollars from their victims. And I imagine they know that they have Honda in this case, and they are probably going to demand a... Honda says they don't believe any data was stolen, but based on what we have seen recently with these ransomware attacks, in almost every case nowadays, data is being taken before the ransomware is deployed to the victim. So I think we're going to find out more here with what happened with Honda as time moves on. They are still in recovery mode, where they're trying to get systems back up and running, and I'm sure in the process try to figure out how this happened in their organization. But this goes to show you, big or small, it doesn't matter. They are after every company, and once they know what kind of company they have, that's basically when they determine how much they're going to try to exfiltrate from the victim. Unfortunately, Honda suffered an attack here. Their business is going to suffer. And we will keep you updated. I will more than likely probably do a one video on this whole entire incident once we have all the information, and I can bring that to you and kind of give you a full start to finish overview of how this happened and how Honda reacted to it. Another big one is a city here in the United States, in Florence, Alabama, slammed by ransomware. Literally 12 days after a security researcher, Krebs, informed them that they had this going on. Krebs picked up on some things on the criminal side of the internet where they were aware that this network had been breached. He reached out to them in late May to numerous Florence officials and let them know that their information security systems had been infiltrated by hackers who specialize in deploying ransomware. Well, on Friday, June 5th, the intruders sprung their attack. They deployed ransomware, demanding nearly $300,000 in Bitcoin, $300,000 US in Bitcoin. And city officials now say they plan to pay the ransom demand because their hope is that the data that was encrypted, it was also stolen. So they're just trying now to avoid that information getting out to the dark web or the criminal side of the internet. That is what the city officials there are trying to prevent. More than likely, they could probably recover from the ransomware event from backups, but backups, as we've been telling you for months now, they really no longer matter when it comes to a ransomware attack, because the data is usually being stolen before it's encrypted. And even if you tell the hacker that you are not paying the ransom and you think you're good because you have backups, they then release the data out on the internet. So it's very important that, if you do happen to get hacked with ransomware, reach out to somebody who has expertise with things like dealing with ransomware, helping you try to understand what data was compromised and what hackers are doing with that type of data sets once they have their hands on it. You may work in an environment where the data is not too important, like it doesn't have customer identifiable information. Maybe you work for an engineering firm and you have a lot of CAD drawings and things like that. But that data, if it got out on the dark criminal web, can't really do much harm to other people, but it does hurt your business. On the other hand, you may have a lot of data that has personally identifiable information in it, and if it does, that is a concern for you. And a security expert who knows who these criminals are, how they operate, they've probably been in contact and worked with these criminals before in other events, like we have when we've helped out certain companies that have called us out of the blue to get help with ransomware. You get to know who these people are and how they operate and how honest they are, how helpful they are. And we're going to talk about that now with our third case here. An article that was actually published this week in Tech Republic. And they interviewed the CFO of a small firm in Kentucky, an unnamed firm. And they did an extensive interview, and I'll provide the link to that interview in the description. But essentially, it was a small firm. The CFO indicated that they only had 8 computers, and in his words, in a building that never thought something like this would even be possible, but they found out late on a Saturday night, which I've also mentioned in other videos that I've done. These attacks are usually happening after hours on Fridays and Saturday nights when nobody's around. They got a message, or an employee got a message saying that you're under attack. And she didn't just delete it, she paused because she thought there was something to it. I believe she showed it to her husband, who was also in IT, and they both agreed that they needed to do something about it and alerted other people in the company. The CFO reached out to an IT provider that they worked with, who confirmed that they're under attack. And he asked them, is this email that we got real? And the IT person replied back, it's very real. The CFO in the article goes on to say, immediately his heart sunk. It's 10:30 on a Saturday night, and he's like, what do you mean we're under attack? Excuse me? That's a hard thing to understand, because he probably had the mindset that he was small enough, and he admits so in the article, that this would never happen to him. And I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter. It will happen to you. Very important for you to know it will happen. And the more things you do to prevent this thing from happening, the less likely it's going to happen. But if you do nothing, I promise you, something bad will happen along the way. You could be in business for 25 years. It doesn't matter. Number one, these threats have only existed for about 5 years. So the first 20 years of your business, this isn't even a threat that you've had to worry about. And even if you haven't gotten hit in the last 5 years, how many years do you think it'll take before these hackers get through a lot of the businesses that are out there? And they're looking for the ones that aren't doing anything, who don't think they're a threat, or who don't think they're a target. So it's important for you to know that the threat does exist. The threat is real, and that's why I do these videos. It's also very important for you to know that we do have solutions, and there are ways that we can prevent this and reduce your risk in a very methodical and business-like way, so you understand how this impacts your bottom line. It's a discussion that I believe should be happening in the boardrooms and not in the IT rooms. So if you're handing all of your IT responsibilities off to somebody and you're allowing them to deal with it for your business, I highly encourage you to take this video and think about how you're doing it, and go back and maybe think about bringing some function of IT into your boardroom and helping you make business decisions around what you do in IT. Because at the end of the day, Business 101 says we evaluate and reduce risk, and this is a risk, and you need to evaluate it and you need to reduce it. So I'm going to continue on with our friends over in Kentucky here. So they ended up paying $150,000. They ended up paying $150,000 to these attackers. And the interesting thing is again, they did not have personally identifiable information. So it was curious that this particular hacking group went after them, because they usually go after larger targets, number one, and number two, they didn't have personally identifiable information. But the interesting thing too is this hacking group was asking for significantly much less money than they normally do from the people that they attack. So that was interesting about this particular incident, that they only asked for, initially $400,000. They ended up settling and accepting $150,000 to unlock the systems. And I just believe that that's pretty much because there was no PII. They couldn't do anything with the data on the dark web or the criminal side of the internet. And they knew that they just had this business held up from being able to conduct business. So this company brought in outside help to help them with the attack. Not their IT provider, another third-party company, help them with the attack, help them with the negotiations, and help them get back up and running. The interesting thing is these were highly sophisticated criminals who had a plan. They knew what they had. They offered support. They negotiated the ransom. So you can see that not only are they, a business, whether, it is a criminal business, but it's still operated like a business. And the other interesting thing that I find is that we and I have been saying these things on these YouTube videos now for several months, and the earmarkers of what we see in these attacks, and it's the same thing almost every time. All of these attacks are played out the same way, they're done the same way, it's just different actors with different data sets and different systems, but the way it all plays out is usually all the same when it comes to how much they're willing to negotiate and how much they're willing to allow you to get away with not paying the ransom anymore. These attacks are real, they're happening every week. I'm here to bring you awareness on these attacks, and I'm also here to help you figure out ways to make your business better so you're reducing the risk, and when somebody does try to eventually attack your business, at least you've put the things in place that are going to protect you and keep your business open, running, employees employed, and customers buying your products or services. So if you need any help with any of this, I highly encourage you to visit our website at xitx.com. We have tons of resources on our website that talk about how to protect your business. We have ebooks, we have blogs, and you can also go up to the top right and fill out the contact us form and reach out and ask us to give you a call. We'd be happy to hop on a quick 15-minute phone call to kind of talk to you about where you're at today and what your situation is and what you should be looking to do. So stay safe out there, do everything you can to reduce risk in your business, and I will be at you soon with another video like this, and as well as an update on the Honda breach. Have a good day. Thank you for watching this video from Exact IT Solutions. And if you like what you saw here today, please give us the video a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or you want to comment about anything that you saw in our video, please do so in the comment section below. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And if you want to get alerted when we upload new videos to the channel, please hit the little alert bell, and hopefully YouTube will notify you when we post new content. Check out the link in the description below for any more information relevant to this video. And if you want to know anything about our services or how we can help your company with IT, please check out our website at xitx.com.